Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell pushed for lifting sanctions on Russia just a few months before a major Russian investment in his home state. The US Senate Majority Leader is being criticised for the move, but McConnell claims he had no advance knowledge of the massive spending spree by one of Vladimir Putin's closest men.
Aluminum for airplanes, cars and consumer goods, and lots of work in a tiny corner of Kentucky hit hard by the opioid crisis. That was the promise as officials broke ground for a new aluminum mill.
That will create up to 1,500 jobs right next to Ashland, Kentucky. You know where we're talking about, right?
At well over $1 billion, the project needed loads of money. So the Washington Post says the Russians came calling in the form of Rusal, a massive aluminum company ready to kick in $200 million. But there was a hitch. Rusal was partially owned by Ole Deripaska, who was tied to Russian President Vladimir Putin. U.S. sanctions forbade doing business with the Russians in response to meddling in the U.S. election. And that's where the Post says Kentucky's senior senator, Republican Mitch McConnell, enters the scene.
I was accused of aiding and abetting the very man I've singled out as an adversary and opposed for nearly 20 years, Vladimir Putin.
The Post article and others suggest precisely that, pointing out that former aides of McConnell were lobbying on behalf of the aluminum plant, even as the Senate Majority Leader himself was fighting to lift the sanctions on Russia. McConnell says he had no idea the Russians were involved in the Kentucky deal. The White House wanted the sanctions lifted.
That was how I voted. The reason I voted the way I did.
The president's response to questions about the timing and appearance of it all?
I think the Washington Post is a Russian asset by comparison. Mitch McConnell loves our country.
Still, McConnell has picked up a nickname among Democrats already frustrated by him killing so many of their proposals.
Moscow Mitch says that he is the Grim Reaper.
The Post says McConnell wants to improve election security, but his opposition to legislation along those lines means that nickname won't go away soon.